Hey everybody, I'm Brian Enton in for Ashleigh Banfield tonight. It has been a busy day. There's been a lot of news, and by now you have probably heard the news about Princess of Wales Kate Middleton. After all the conspiracy theories and the rumors and the cruelty, you know, you heard it, there was so much cruelty. We now know that Kate Middleton has been out of the public eye because she has cancer and is undergoing chemotherapy. So the fun and games of all the sickos out there who went as far to even say the Princess of Wales was a psyop. And yes, people said that and it went viral and it was all over the place. Well, hopefully tonight, those people feel pretty terrible about themselves, or at least embarrassed. Did we forget about what happened to Princess Diana and where all this wild speculation and obsession can lead? We're going to have the latest on all of that. We'll also have Princess Diana's former butler. He's going to join us live. He's got the inside scoop of what's been going on behind the scenes. He's going to be with us. That is coming up in just a minute. Also tonight, we knew what blogger Ruby Frankie did to her kids was awful. We read the police reports, but my God, we got the pictures today. The crime scene photos, and it is horrendous. Injuries of Ruby Frankie's kids. They were emaciated. There were infected cuts. You see there, they had duct tape around their arms and feet. Let's not forget, this woman was a blogger telling parents how to raise kids. And look at what she was doing to her own kids. There's body camera video, ring camera video, a ton of pictures. We've got it all. We got the whole file. We'll have it for you tonight. And if you were upset already just reading about what she did and following along with the case, this is really going to make you furious when you see these visuals. And then it's sadly what so many of us suspected, but really just hoped was not true. 14 days after college student Riley Strain went missing, his body was found in the Cumberland River in Nashville today. A close family friend is going to join us live with the latest. Tell us what Riley's family wants you tonight. No, tonight they also had a candlelight vigil tonight. I mean, it's just, we've all been following that one so closely and hoping that something positive would come at the end, but sort of knowing in our hearts what had happened, and sadly that came true. So we'll talk to that family friend in a second. But we begin tonight with the Princess of Wales. Not since Christmas Day has Kate Middleton made a public appearance, and now in a very, very personal video message today, she shared why.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment, but most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
It's a strong woman right there. You think about everything that she's going through behind the scenes with her family and then having to come out and make a public statement like that. There has been speculation, so much speculation about the princess. It set the internet on fire, literally, since she said that she was having that abdominal surgery in January. For months, it has dragged on with Kate nowhere to be found. The release of the now infamous heavily doctored Mother's Day photo, you remembered that one, photo that only added to the fuel of this fire, giving rise to Kate-spiracies, that's what they were called, and endless material for late-night comedians. It got so bad that even the White House commented on it.
Does the White House ever digitally alter photos of the president, vice president, first lady, before they're released?
Digitally altered? Not that I know of. I would say no. Why would we digitally alter photos? Are you talking about? Are you comparing us to what's going on in the UK?
But now we know that Kate is in a fight for her life, that she needed space and privacy to deal with an extremely personal matter that few people on the planet would be expected to go public with. The messages of love and support from her family and across the world, they've been pouring in. Buckingham Palace, on behalf of King Charles, they've now put out a statement. It says, the Princess of Wales has the love and support of the whole country as she continues her recovery. She has shown tremendous bravery with her statement today. In recent weeks, she has been subjected to intense scrutiny and has been unfairly treated by certain sections of the media around the world and on social media. When it comes to matters of health, like everyone else, she must be afforded the privacy to focus on her treatment and be with her loving family. Kate's brother, James Middleton, wrote on Instagram, over the years, we have climbed many mountains together as a family, and we will climb this one with you too. And Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, wrote, we wish health and healing for Kate and the family and hope they are able to do so privately and in peace. And here in the United States, the White House press secretary wished Kate a full recovery in her news conference today. For more insight on all of this, I turn to someone who has been close to the royal family for decades. Paul Burrell spent 20 years working with the royals as a butler to Queen Elizabeth and to Princess Diana. He had a close relationship with Diana and her boys, Prince Harry and Prince William, Kate's husband. He joins us now live from England. Paul, thank you for being with us. You understand the situation in many ways better than anyone else, so we're happy to have you. First of all, I'm just curious, what was your initial reaction when you found out? I mean, we got word 2 p.m. Eastern, there was going to be a big announcement from the palace. Everyone was scrambling behind the scenes. What was your reaction when you saw the video?
I was very saddened. And what a brave young woman this is. And, you know, I knew this would happen because I've been banging on your channel too, asking for people to give her space and time as a woman, as a wife and as a mother. But no one seemed to listen because, these horrible stories, they seem to sort of catch light and take people by, the surprise. So I felt really, really sorry for her. And I hope that she wasn't sort of forced into this position by these cruel, speculative coverage which she's had over the past week. In fact, I wrote to William at the beginning of this week, and I said to him, please don't let her come out onto the public stage until she is ready. Because, she deserved that privacy. She is a public figure. She is the Princess of Wales, our future queen. But why was she treated so badly by so many people? There will be a lot of red faces and embarrassed faces around the world now from people that thought that she was dead or she was having an affair or she was splitting from her husband. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
What do you
think?
She was
just wanting space.
What do you think, Paul, was happening behind the scenes leading up to this video statement? I mean, do you think she was pressured into it? Because you look back historically, I mean, the royals don't normally talk about these kinds of things, it doesn't seem.
I think she wanted to squash it once and forever because they were getting out of hand. And these rumors since the picture was published, she has a small family to protect, and those children are listening to other children at school. Incidentally, this announcement came on the day when the children break up school, and now she can take her children and her husband off to Sandringham for the privacy on the King's estate, and hopefully she will have space and time now to recover, which she richly deserves.
I want to read you again Harry and Meghan's statement because it was short. It said, "We wish health and healing for Kate and the family and hope they are able to do so privately and in peace." I mean, you know, Harry, you are part of that family. Yes. Reading between the lines, I guess I was expecting something. It was just one line. What do you think is happening there? I mean, is he going to go to England? Do you think they've been in communication?
No, I don't. I think that the line has been drawn in the sand, and Harry and Meghan know that their life is now in California. I don't think that it would make matters any better if they got on an airplane and came to England. In fact, it would probably make it worse because they would bring a media storm with them. So for the time being, I think Harry and Meghan should stay in California, let William take charge of his family, and for the time being, there is no possibility of a reconciliation. Most families do have this reconciliation when there is a serious illness in the family, but I'm afraid Harry has burned his bridges, and there's no way forward for William and Harry.
You knew Princess Diana well. What do you think he would advise Harry to do in this situation? I mean, again, I'm just thinking about a brother here. You know, it seems like they should be closer right now. I mean, certain things have to arise above everything else.
Well, they should, of course, because, you know, now William is carrying a huge burden. He is out of action. The king is out of action. The royal family look pretty depleted at the moment. And that's the time when you turn to your nearest and dearest and you turn to Harry. But you see, Harry was brought up with Diana, knowing the rules and the regulations. And Harry forgot these rules and regulations when he wrote Spare, when he did the Oprah interview. He said too many things, too many private things. He criticized Kate, and he criticized William, and he criticized his father and his late grandmother and Camilla. And, you know, too much was said. And I don't think they want to let Harry back into the fold at this delicate time, because he would only go back to America and give an exclusive interview to the media. So they can't trust him. They don't trust him anymore. So his place is with his family in California, and William's place is looking after his bubble and keeping his family safe.
Yeah, it's certainly just a very sad situation all around, and it makes you wonder about the family dynamic. And, you know, you think about Princess Diana and what she would have wanted and the fact that her sons are so far apart during such a tragic time. Paul Burrell, we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to bring in Kinsey Schofield. She is a royal commentator and host of Heirs and Spares. Kinsey, first of all, I want to ask you, do we know whether Kate and William found out about the cancer diagnosis a long time ago and we're just now coming forward? Do we know any more about a timeline?
Yeah, we now understand that the princess and the prince discovered her cancer diagnosis on February 27th, when Prince William pulled out of his godfather, King Constantine of Greece's memorial service just 45 minutes before he was expected to arrive. If you'll recall, there was a lot of speculation surrounding him missing that event, and now we know that these were those circumstances.
What about Harry and Meghan? Do we know, did they get a call? Did they know about this before all of us found out today at 2 p.m.?
You know what? It's my understanding that Harry and Meghan were made aware of the diagnosis just moments before you and I were, moments before the world was, through intermediaries. So it's my understanding that they found out about it around the same time you and I did.
I guess back to what Paul said, Kinsey, I mean, that just shows how fractured this relationship really is, that they wouldn't even have a call, the brothers, privately before this went out to the world.
No, I completely agree with that. And, you know, I think it's common sense. I don't think you would have seen a big social media launch for Meghan Markle's American Riviera Orchard had she known that this was what was happening in the background, because that's just not a good look. And from a PR standpoint, I think that she's going to have a lot of cleaning up to do because people will be very judgmental about that.
The media was so harsh. I mean, you'd see the headlines, especially in England. I mean, the way they covered this, the conspiracy theories. How does that, does it really change anything? I mean, because you think back to even Princess Diana, it just feels like nothing has changed all these years. But do you think this will be a wake-up call?
You know, it's like they just replaced keyboards or cameras with keyboards in this scenario instead of necessarily some of the mainstream media going after the princess. It was social media kind of clawing at this person and demanding answers. Will there be change? I think a lot of people are going to apologize. I mean, even in the States, within the last few hours, actress Blake Lively apologized for making light of the situation on her Instagram. Kim Kardashian's post where she's kind of making fun of where the Where Is Kate theme has yet to be taken down. But I hope that they change the way that they function moving forward. It was just over the weekend that a friend of Prince William's had said that the most challenging part of this for Prince William was feeling that the couple's bubble was coming under threat. And then a few hours later, we got that photo and video of the Princess of Wales out at the market. I mean, is that not a manifestation of their bubble coming under threat? So I do hope that they change going forward their behavior, because this is a very critical time for this family. Prince William promised Catherine's parents, Carol and Michael Middleton, that he would protect her to the best of his ability when she joined the family. And he must feel under a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, and for anyone, and most of us do know someone close to us who's been diagnosed with cancer, you know what that's like, just explaining it to your own family and navigating a diagnosis and a treatment. It's complicated. It's not simple. And then having to also go public and have the entire world watching your every move. Do you think the media in England, the tabloids especially, the paparazzi, will they back off a little bit now?
I do believe they will. I'm seeing a complete shift in tone when it comes to I pay my taxes. I deserve to know what's going on. Now it's very much so. She is the future. We must rally around her. So the tone has shifted immediately. And I'm hoping that, after this blitz, I'm hoping that they lay off of her sincerely and let her rest. They wanted to wait until this time to tell us because the children are going off for holiday. Yeah. And they did not want their children to be asked questions at school about this. So they want to go off and enjoy some time together. We won't see them until end of April. And I think that hopefully the press will leave them alone throughout that process.
Do you think, and just my last question, Kinsey, I mean, there are still unknowns. She was vague when she just said cancer and sort of the timeline. I mean, do you think she should have been more specific? Because I hate to even say this, but there are already people that I've seen on social media dissecting the video, still having all these questions. Could she have gone even farther just to sort of, extinguish all of the conspiracy theories?
I don't think so. I watched it. I've been covering this for months. I've had to answer a lot of these uncomfortable questions about relationships, accused murderers. It's bizarre. I sobbed when I initially saw the video because I thought, what a stoic woman, how brave of her. This is so courageous. And I really I thought it was a privilege to receive as much information as we did based on the way people have behaved over the last few weeks. I would have shut my doors and I wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, it is awful. I just hopefully she wasn't seeing all of it because it really was pretty disgusting. Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, still to come, we knew that it was going to be bad, but oh my gosh, it was so much worse. I could not believe these photos. There's videos, there's documents detailing how former YouTube star Ruby Frankie abused her own kids. Again, she was telling people online how to parent, the right way to parent. This is what you should do. This is what was happening behind the scenes. Look at that. I mean, it's disgusting. We've got all the new photos. We're going to share them with you and talk about it coming up next. News first broke that YouTuber Ruby Frankie and her self-help guru Jodi Hildebrandt had been arrested and charged with abusing two of Frankie's children. Some people thought that it was just a case of strict parenting that maybe crossed the line a little. But now we know It was so much worse than that. There are these disturbing photos and videos that have just been released by Utah prosecutors showing the extent of the horrendous injuries that were inflicted on those poor children. And there you see that her there acting like some parenting guru when we know what was actually happening behind the scenes. They're so graphic, I want to warn you before we show them, because they're very, very disturbing. In the photos, you see the emaciated victims with infected cuts on their legs, sores on their feet, scratches on their bodies. Look at that. There's duct tape around their wrists and ankles. She did this to these kids. Investigators also found rope used to tie the kids up. There was a small room in the basement that was locked from the outside. It was like almost like a safe room prison cell. That's from the body camera video right there. The kids had to wear diapers. These older kids were wearing diapers because when they were restrained and doing manual labor, they weren't even allowed to go to the bathroom. They had to wear the diapers. Prosecutors also released redacted pages of Frankie's personal journal where she was describing the abuse in detail. She was writing about it. Frankie and Hildebrandt had a system in place where the kids would be given difficult tasks, and if they failed to perform them, they would receive very severe punishments. In one entry, Frankie describes how her 12-year-old son refused to do what they called wall sits. So the next day he was told to live outside. He had to sleep outside. He was only allowed to come inside to use the shower and the bathroom. Another entry describes Frankie's 10-year-old daughter being forced to fast, not allowed to eat for multiple days. And when the girl tried to end the fast early and sneak some food and eat, Frankie chopped off her hair. Other entries describe the children being whipped with a belt and forced to stand outside for hours in the hot sun. The journal also offers a clear look at how Frankie and Hildebrandt's religious extremism apparently fueled all this abuse. The women believed the children were evil and possessed. Sound familiar? I'm going to get to that in a second. And needed to be punished to repent. The abuse came to light on August 30th, 2023, after Frankie's son was able to escape from Hildebrandt's house where he had been tied up. He ran to a neighbor's home where he asked the neighbor to call 911. And this is also new video. We got the door cam video of the moment. That's also now been released by prosecutors. We've got it. Take a look.
Answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Yes. Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, just one's fine.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
Have a seat. What's your name? How'd you get here?
I
He has duct tape around
big
each ankle.
injuries. There's sores around them.
Yeah, there's sores around him. I think the good chance he's been...
He also has
and he has
around
his
his
ankle.
wrist as well.
I mean, his wrist as well. Okay, this boy has been...
Needs immediate attention. Oh, he was such a good kid.
This kid is awfully stupid. I think he should have been...
Oh, that is so sad. And he's asking to go to the police station. In total, 4 of Frankie's 6 children were removed from her care. They were taken into family services. Frankie and Hildebrandt were initially charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse, but 2 were dismissed when they took plea deals. And in February, they were both sentenced to 4 consecutive terms of 1 to 15 years in prison. I want to bring in Lauren Mathias now. She's a reporter and host of Hidden, a true crime podcast. Lauren, it's always good to see you. I remember you and I talked about this case before. and we just had the details. We had the police reports. But I mean, to see those images and to see him go ring that doorbell with the duct tape around his hands and his ankles, it's worse than I could have ever imagined.
It's horrible, watching him ring that doorbell, and at that moment where you can tell that he's going to be helped. It makes me emotional to watch it. I couldn't believe reading some of the things, Brian. We saw in one body cam footage, police describing the injuries and then explaining how they were taking the dressing off of little R, and then they realized that it wasn't the dressing; it was his skin. It was so bad, and you saw the photos there, and that we learned that it was days of this, weeks of this, months of this, that their own mother recorded what she did to them in her journal entries.
I couldn't believe that she was writing all of this down. They've now got all this evidence. Meanwhile, everybody's watching Ruby Frankie's YouTube videos, thinking that she's some kind of parenting expert. You can't even make this up. It's so awful.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And then to find out that she was actually writing in her journal that her own children were evil. We also now have jail phone calls that are recorded where she is explaining that people don't understand that children can be evil, reiterating after her arrest, her children are evil. They're possessed. They're following Satan.
Yeah, and you know what I thought of, and I know it's the first thing that you thought of too when she talks about this religious spell. Thought of Lori Vallow. It all sounds very, very eerily familiar. And Ruby Frankie spoke at the sentencing, which I think is kind of relevant now. I want to play that clip, and then we'll talk about it, Lauren. Oh, we don't have the clip, but basically she goes into this whole Lori Vallow thing, that the kids are evil, that you have to get the evil out. I'm not sure I really saw that coming.
No, yeah, the first thing I thought of was what you thought of, Brian, exactly. That this is very reminiscent of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, that they thought the children were evil. And we know how that ended, in the death of the children, the murders of those two children. And, I just want to point out that those similarities, they're very real. This small southern Utah town, this is the very same area where Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met. And there are a lot of like-minded people there who read similar books. So I'm going to say that similarity is not, that's not something to kind of put on the side. I think it's something that's very frightening and something we need to keep our eye on here.
I think you're right, and I don't think enough people realize that. I think they watched the Lori Vallow trial and thought this is some crazy mom. And it is an evil person. But I don't think people realize, Lauren, like we sort of were exposed to when we were out there covering it, that there are other people who maybe don't take it to that extreme, hopefully, but have these insane beliefs that their kids can be evil and that you have to get the evil out. This is like a thing with certain religious cults.
It is a thing with certain religious cults, and many of these people are from some similar areas, reading some similar books. I'll just say that. We've been looking into this for years, and it's very concerning. Yeah, it is. Were you surprised, Lauren, that no one seemed to know that this was going on, especially now that we see the photos and the injuries? And I don't know if these kids just weren't going to school. I assume they were homeschooled. But did no one notice what was happening? It really took the kid having to go to the neighbor's house and ring the doorbell? It's upsetting. It's maddening to think that nobody noticed this. Not just, in Springville, Utah, up north, where Ruby Frankie is from, when there were calls being made, but also Jody Hildebrandt, as a therapist, as a professional in southern Utah. There had been complaints about her. Her license had been suspended for a time. There are other children that have come forward as adults and said, she did this to me too. To think that she was able to practice for so many years. Were people just looking the other way? Couldn't they just not believe this? We've got to stop this from happening again. And I hope that we will catch this earlier next time. It's just horrendous. Yeah, and I just hope that these kids are going to be okay and get some love and therapy and whatever they need, because obviously they have been through hell. Lauren Matthias, thank you so much for joining us on a Friday night. It's not a fun topic to talk about, but it's always nice to see you. You too, Brian. Thanks.
Okay, still to come, the Riley strain mystery, it's over, but the long heartbreak, it's so sad because we've all been so invested in this. The heartbreak's just beginning for the family. People in Nashville gathering tonight in sadness after the University of Missouri senior's body was found after 14 days. There was so much intense searching. Up next, we're going to have the full details on Riley's recovery, who found him, whether searchers were looking in all the right places, and also someone very, very close to the family is going to join me right after the break. Here, like people really all over the country, were holding out hope really to the very last minute that the news from the search for college senior Riley Strain would be different. But this morning, Nashville police delivered the sad news that Riley's body was discovered in the Cumberland River about 8 miles downstream from where he was last seen 14 days ago. As the days ticked by, the clues and the leads seemed to multiply and the rumors started to fly. One of the more plausible scenarios, apparently the correct one in the end, was that Riley left his frat brothers at the downtown Nashville bar, walked a short distance along the shore of the river there in Nashville, and then somehow entered the water. There's still a lot of questions. Riley's mom and stepdad, they gave some really emotional statements just a little while ago in Nashville.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. We're quite thankful for everything that you've done for our family, the grace that you've given us. It means a lot, more than you'll ever know. We're extremely thankful for all the volunteers that have shown up, given us their time, their effort, their energy. Very little sleep they've gone on.
How thankful we are for everyone and how much we appreciate everyone's support and love and prayers, because we feel them. We have felt every one of them, every single one. I just ask that you mamas out there hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please.
I want to bring in Chris Dingman now. He's a friend of Riley's family. Chris, thank you for being with us once again. I can't even imagine what they're going through. I know you're in the house with them right now. I just hope that the support from the country and really the world, I mean, this story touched so many people. I hope that that's at least helping them a little bit right now.
100%. I'm actually literally straight above them, and the family's downstairs in the living room. The airboat captains, United Cajun Navy, everybody else that showed up in airboats, a lot of the families. It's just kind of a fellowship tonight in the house. And I'll be honest with you, I went to the candlelight vigil tonight. It was phenomenal having people there talking. Exactly what you said, you know, I drove 6 hours to come and look for Riley. I've been following it every week, you know, every day. I wake up in the morning to see what's posted. And to hear the conversations that's going on downstairs right now, to where the family can breathe, have normal conversations without just tears erupting, and you're looking at Michelle and you start crying and everybody's crying, and there's a long road ahead of us. We're so blessed of all the help and support that everybody has provided for Riley. Michelle gets to take Riley home. There's unfortunately a lot of people in this world that don't have that opportunity. It is not what we were wanting. We were praying for everybody. You know, the world needs a win right now. It's so chaotic. I think that's why everybody was so invested in Riley. He checked all the boxes. It wasn't the family saying he was a great kid. Every time you reached out, didn't matter who you reached out to, they had a great positive story about him.
Yeah.
And the world needed a win. We didn't get it, but we did. We have Riley. His mother gets to take him home, have a proper burial with him, and she'll get to go visit her son from time to time when she needs him. You know, I know, and we all need him.
And I know there's no real closure in a situation like this, but I'm glad that she's able to take him home. I think that obviously goes a long way, and I'm glad she's getting a lot of support right now. And I think his personality and light came through in all these stories and pictures, how close he was to his mom. I think that's why people felt this connection to the story. Have police, Chris, been able to provide any more information about what happened? I mean, obviously we know that he was found, but do we have any more details?
Where we're at right now is, you know, he was unfortunately, you know, fortunately and unfortunately, he was found underneath the barge this morning. An area which, ironically, Ryan, his dad, and one of the searchers on the boat last night had put a ping in to bring the dogs back this morning to look at it. They thought there may have been something. There was nothing positive. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. So they were kind of on to something. The police did mention to us in private that there were a few more individuals. At the moment, this is just a horrible accident. But the police do have a few more people they're wanting to talk to that may have physically been there, that saw what happened to Riley, may have not had a part of it, but may put together the last pieces that we need of this puzzle. We're there. We've got 5 or 6 pieces left that the police are currently working on, and we hope to have those answers soon.
Yeah, and maybe, other college kids watching or just anyone can learn something from this situation. And I'm not pointing fingers because I can remember being in college and drinking too much and walking home alone and sometimes maybe not even knowing how I got home. And sometimes my friends also leaving a bar and I should have gone with them, but I didn't. But I think this just shows all of us, the dangers that's out there when people are just sort of set free in a situation like that.
I'd had the conversation with Riley, and one of the little things I took is I told all the boys, I said, and I've had a lot of them, I've had the privilege of being in their life, and I said, when you go to a big city, put your billfold in your front pocket. I said, because when you're out dancing, you may not realize it, and that billfold may go disappearing, but if you put your billfold in your front pocket, it's going to be a lot harder. And in that picture of him and the boys outside before they went into the bars and stuff, Chris actually made the comment to me, and he goes, see, he was listening to you. And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, look in the picture, his billfold's in his front pocket. And, it's little things like that we're going to have forever. I've got some family pictures we're going to post up in honor of Riley tomorrow, and kids and adults and parents. If I can tell you something right now from all the wild stuff that we've been through in the last 2 weeks, make sure your children have somebody that has a password to their social medias and their accounts. Whether you put it in a safe deposit box, I understand you need to have their space, but this could have saved us a lot of time that we waited on warrants, et cetera, to get answers, to get this started. And, please have multiple people that have access to those opportunities, because it literally could change the dynamics of somebody trying to find you, somebody trying to help you, somebody trying to rescue you.
That's a good point.
Let somebody know.
Yeah, I don't think I would have even thought of that, but you're right that in the situation that you all have been in, that would have made a big difference. Chris Dingman, thank you so much. I know it's been an awful day, and you've been so busy trying to keep this story in the headlines, and we really appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for covering it, and thank every media, every form of media. You guys kept the family, and I'm not exaggerating, your thoughts and prayers in covering this and showing her the world was looking for Riley kept her sane and to the point to where we're at right now, and we will never forget that. Well,
thank you. Yeah, and I think everybody was hoping for a different outcome, but I'm glad that she gets to take her son home now. So thank you, Chris. Okay, still to come tonight, a gruesome and terrifying crime. This is awful in New York City. A woman found dead in an apartment. Her body was stuffed in a duffel bag. Police believe it was squatters. These squatters are at it again. They're all over the country, but this is next level. They say they were there illegally. They're the women's killers, police say. Tonight, those suspects are in custody. NewsNation was at the crime scene. We're going to have the details next.
Get clear, healthy-looking nails with Nonix Nail Clarifying Gel. In a clinical study, 90% of nails improved. For fungus-damaged nails, buy Nonix. Made in the USA and money-back guaranteed.
Tonight, a week-long manhunt for 2 accused killers is over. 2 teenagers are suspected of beating a woman to death in a New York City apartment and stuffing her body in a duffel bag. U.S. Marshals confirmed to NewsNation tonight that 19-year-old Haley Tejada and 18-year-old Kinsley Alston are in federal custody right now. They were tracked down in the victim's car and arrested earlier today in Pennsylvania. Investigators say that they were squatting. We've been talking a lot about squatting lately, living illegally in a vacant Manhattan apartment when they came face to face with the daughter of the previous resident. They killed the woman, and then they fled the city. I want to bring in NewsNation correspondent Laura Engel. She's been all over the story. All right, Laura, we don't have any mug shots because they're in federal custody, but what do we know about these squatters? Like, who are they?
Well, we know that they're young, right? They're 18 and 19 years old. We learned that today when news broke this afternoon that the 2 suspects who were seen getting out of this apartment complex, just kind of strolling out, were busted in Pennsylvania. And we know that these suspects, after they allegedly beat this woman, after she confronted them in her apartment, in an apartment she was trying to get ready for either herself or a friend. This is a horrible story. The son of this woman called for a welfare check. And that is when and how she was discovered. But to your point about these two suspects, they are being held in Pennsylvania, and they were found because they had taken, apparently, her credit cards, were using them in the state of Pennsylvania, and also had crashed her car that they had stolen in New York and driven it and got into a vehicle accident, Pennsylvania. And that is how they were tracked down, Brian.
My gosh, and all these squatter stories that we've been doing lately, it's been crazy in LA, but this is the worst. I mean, they killed a woman and put her in a duffel bag. I don't think anything compares. You were out at the building. What was it like out there?
You know, this is a typical neighborhood, Kips Bay in Manhattan. And if you stand on the corner, you can see the Chrysler building. Just to give people a perspective of where this is, it's in a nice neighborhood. And a lot of people we spoke to today were completely shocked. I did have a chance to talk to people coming in and out of the building. They couldn't tell me much. I ran into the super, and there was something that really caught my eye. I wanted to take you to the neighborhood. Take a listen. You could see that there are multiple cameras both inside and outside of this building. The super here told me that the suspects were seen coming out of these doors, and they didn't seem to be hiding. Instead, they were smiling, looking like they didn't have a care in the world. And, you know, there's the question, how do these guys possibly know this victim? Was it totally random? A lot of questions still in this case, and they are expected to be extradited to New York after they face charges in Pennsylvania for stolen property. Brian?
They got to do something about these squatters all over the place, and this is especially bad. Laura Ingle, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, still to come, it appears to be your average smash and grab robbery, but what the heck is this guy wearing? You're going to see it here. If you can't tell, here's a hint. He's the only one. We're going to end on a little bit of a lighter note tonight. The details are next. Is that they get caught on security cameras. Crime Stoppers of Lincoln, Nebraska is looking for Tigger. You're going to see it. You can see him throw a chunk of concrete through a vape shop window before making his way inside. He hops over to the counter where Crime Stoppers says he stole $500 worth of vaping items. He then bounces out through the window that he smashed. And hopefully this is going to be an easy case for police. I mean, after all, Tigger claims he's the only one. And if you do know anything, go to LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, or you can call 402-475-3600. Man, in a Tigger outfit. My gosh. All right, it's Friday night. Have a good weekend. That's all the time we have. Ashleigh will be back on Monday. Cuomo starts next. See you later.
Hey, everybody, I'm Chris Cuomo. We have two big stories breaking on our watch. We have new insight into the breaking news that English Princess Kate Middleton has cancer. We have different angles on what this likely means for her and her health, of course. Also, what it means for her young family and for us. Yes, us. Why? Well, not just the fascination, but I'm going to raise a question tonight and give some support for it and ask a doctor about it, which is, why are more young people, and remember, Kate is only 42 and fit by all